Hello? Hello? Okay, we are live now. Incidentally, incident, that incidentally, the Constitution has never been amended. Amended on this point, nor has the provision that only silver and gold can be used as lawful money. It would be interesting if each reader of this book would send copies to his or her elected representatives in Washington, or at least a photocopy of this section. Every member of Congress has sworn to uphold the Constitution, and you might attack a short note asking them when they intend to begin. Do not be disappointed if your reply is less than satisfactory. Politicians have a similar problem to that which judges have. It is permissible to rock the boat from time to time, but they are not supposed to sink it. 哇，这个词用的好。Suits against the government challenging the constitutionality of our monetary system seldom get to court. It is safer for the justice to decide to accept these cases or to dismiss them as supposedly frivolously. Otherwise, they would face a difficult choice. Either they would have to mutilate logic in order to uphold the present inconsistencies, thus open themselves to possible ridicule, or they would have to declare in favor of constitution of and leverage cause the collapse of the entire difficult deficit spending central banking mechanism. Such an act would take a considerable amount of courage. Not only would they suffer the wrath of the establishment that it is nourished nourished by that mechanism, they also would have to face the bewildered public, which, because of lack of knowledge about the Constitution or the nature of money, could easily be convinced that the judges had lost their minds. Likewise, it is safer for politicians to respond to inquiries of the kind merely by quoting some self-serving government document which makes our fiat monetary system sound quite legal and marvelously constitutional. Don't be disappointed if your reply is less than satisfactory. Politicians have a similar problem to that, which judges have. It's permissible, permissible, permissible to rock the boat from time to time, but they are not supposed to sink it. Suits against government, suits against the government, challenging the constitutionality of our monetary system, seldom get to count. Suits. It is safer for the justice to decline to accept these cases or to dismiss them as supposedly frivolous. Otherwise, they would face a difficult choice. Either they will have to manipulate logic in order to uphold the president's inconsistent, inconsistencies, thus opening themselves to possible ridicule, ridicule, or they will have to declare in favor of the Constitution, in favor of the Constitution, and literally cause the collapse of the entire deficit spending central bank mechanism.彻底导致整个赤字之中 Such act would take a considerable amount of courage. Not only will they suffer the wrath of the wrath of the establishment that is nourished by the mechanism, they also will have to face a bewildered public which, because of lack of knowledge about the constitution or the nature of money, could easily be convinced that the judges had lost their minds. 不仅他们会遭受愤怒，the wrath of establishment, 权势集团，a pillar of the establishment, that is nourished by the mechanism. They also will have to face a bewildered public, which, because of lack of knowledge about the constitution or the nature of money, could easily be convinced that the judges had lost their mind. Likewise, it is safer for politicians to respond to inquiries of this kind merely be quoting some self-serving government documents which make our fiat money system sound quite legal and marvelously constitutional. And it's safer for politicians to respond to inquiries of this kind merely by quoting some self-serving government documents, which makes our fiat money system sound quite legal and marvelously constitutional. Marvelously, marvelously. 对，这个人选择也是一个大的问题。个人选择就是一个大问题呀。所以这里面，嗯，噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔噔。Okay. Unfortunately, this is reality, and true, the public become considerable better informed than it is at present. Better informed than it is at present. Public becomes considerable better informed than it is at present. We cannot expect too much from the courts or from Congress. Bring this matter to the attention of your elected representatives. However, it's still well worth the effort because the process of education has to start somewhere, and Washington is an excellent place to begin. Returning to the point of this digression, 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 digression. However, it is important to note that the federal government was given a precisely limited monetary function to coin money and to regulate the value thereof. In view of the fact that gold and silver coin was specifically defined as the only kind of money to be allowed, there can be no doubt of what was meant by the first half of that power. To coin money meant to mean previous metal coin, precise metal coins, period. The second half is equally clear. Both of the Constitution and the discussions among the delegates, the power to regulate the value of gold and silver coin was closely tied to the power to determine weights and measures. They are in fact one and the same. To regulate the value of coin is exactly the same as to set the nationally accepted value of a mile or pound or quart. It is to create a standard against which a thing may be measured. The wording of this section of the Constitution can be traced to the original Articles of Confederation, which further clarifies the meaning that was generally understood at the time. The United States is Congress assembled shall have the sole and exclusive right and power of regulating the alloy and value of coins struck by their own authority or by that of the respective states, fixing the standard weights measures throughout the United States. The intent, therefore, was simply of Congress to determine the exact weight or precious metal that would constitute the national monetary unit, the origin of the dollar. Okay. At the time of these deliberations, Spanish silver coins called pieces of eight had already become the de facto monetary unit. An official commission had been established by the Constitutional Congress to sample the calculating coins in the country and determine their average value by weight and purity. Charts were published, and all coins of various regions were listed by comparative value. Congress was already regulating the value of the nation's money by the time the Constitution was drafted. How these coins became dollars is an interesting story. As we were to tell us, monetary historians generally first associate the dollar with one consul who began striking such silver coins in 1519 in Jackson's Tiberia, then called 什么什么什么 Schlichtendadler or General. The coin became known simply as Dollar, which translated into dollars. Interestingly, the American colonists did not adopt the dollar from England, but from Spanish under that country's monetary reform of 1497. The silver rarely became the Spanish money unit or unit of account. A new coin consisting of 8 reales also appeared, variously known as pesos, dollars, pizzas, the odds pieces of 8, or Spanish dollar, because of their similarity in weight and fineness to the dollar. Dollar. The coins quickly achieved predominance in financial markets of the New World because of Spanish then important commercial and political position. In 1785, Thomas Jefferson urged the adoption of the Spanish silver dollar as the nation's official monetary unit in a pamphlet, pamphlet 小传单 submitted to the delegates of the Constitutional Congress. He said, taking into our view all money transactions, great and small, I question if a common measure of more convenient size than the dollar could be proposed. The unit or dollar is a known coin and the most familiar of all to the minds of people. It is already adopted from south to north. It identified our currency and therefore happily offers itself as an unit already introduced. On July 6, 1785, Congress unanimously 一致 unanimously voted to adopt the Spanish dollar as the official monetary unit of the United States. Jefferson realized, however, that this was not sufficient. Although the coin had been one of the most dependable in terms of weight and quality, it still varied in content between issues, and a way had to be found to rate one coin in value against another. That was, after all, the service that Congress was required to render when it was given the power to regulate the value of money. Jefferson came directly to the point when he said, if we determine that a dollar shall be our unit, we must then say with precise precision what a dollar is. This coin as stuck as at different times or different weights and fairness is our different value. 然而，积分一小时还不够。尽管这种货币在重量数量上最高，但不同发行的批次人员必须找到一种方法来比较不同的。毕竟，当国会不赋予条件框架提供这种服务是他们职责，直截了当的指出，如果我们确定美元作为母带，那么意识美元是这种货币在不同时间铸造重量程度不同，其价值也不同。Monetary in the United States, Jefferson realized, however, that this was not sufficient. 充分足够 sufficient sufficient. Although the coin had been one of the most dependable in terms of weight and quality, it still varied in content between issues, and will have to be found to rate one coin in value against another. Dependable, varied in content. That was, after all, the service that Congress was required to render when it was given the power to regulate the value of money. Jefferson came directly to the point when he said, if we determine that a dollar shall be our unit, we must then say with precision what dollar is. This coin, a stock at different times, a struck at different time of different weights and fairness is of different value. 西班牙元$1等于0.1，西班牙是个高代分质量不一，是这个意思。哦。The logic voiced by Jefferson could not be ignored. 2 years later, after carefully examining the actual weight and fairness of the Spanish dollars currency in calculation, Congress defined the dollar. After ratification, rather, ratification. After ratification of the Congress, a dollar would contain grains of fine silver, and all items in commerce, including other coins, were to be measured in value against that standard. As the Spaniards continued to reduce the silver content of their coins, the pressure for the minting of an American dollar of predictable value began to mount. Secretary of the Treasury Alexander Hamilton in his 1791 reported to Congress urged the establishment of a federal mint and also present, pre, 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 presented a power case of maintaining an viable standard for the coin to be produced by the mint. He said, the dollar originally contemplated in the money transactions of this country by successive diminu- diminutions of its weight and fatness has sustained the precision of 5%, and yet the new dollar has a currency in all payments in place of the old, with scarcely any attention to the difference between them. The operation of this in depreciation the value of property depending upon past contracts and of all other property apparent, nor can it require argument to prove that a nation ought not to suffer. The value of the property of its citizens to fluctuate which with the fluctuations of a foreign mint, or to change with the changes in the regulation of a foreign sovereign. The quantity of gold and silver in the national coins corresponding with a given sum cannot, cannot be made less than heretofore without disturbing the balance of value, intrinsic value, and make every acre of land, as well as every bushel of wheat, or less actual worth than in time past, could not fail to distract the idea of the community and would be apt to breed disconnect as well among those who live on the income of their money as among the poorer class of the people to whom the necessity of life would become dearer. Oh my god！制度好制定，但是制定完之后怎么执行，确实是一个大的问题。美元贬值就不要值。The Constitution Convention 这个国家货币交易中原先市场的美元，由于其重量和程度的连续减少，已经贬值1/5%。然而，新美元在所有支付中取代旧美元，几乎没有人注意到它们之间差异。这种情况对依赖过去合同的财产价值和其他所有价值贬低是显而易见。无需论证即可证明，一个国家不应当让其公民的财产价值伴随着外国铸币厂的波动而波动，或因外国君主的规定变化而改变。国家货币中金银的数量与特定金额相对应，若比以往减少，就会扰乱内在价值的平衡，使每一亩土地每伏尔小麦的实际价值低于过去，这必然会扰乱社区的观念，并且容易在依靠货币收入生活中的人以及生活必须变得这样一个平均。A dollar generally contemplated contemplate 凝视沉思陷入思考打算做某事设想 contemplate the money transactions of this country by successive success, diminution, 果然是 diminution of its weight and fineness has sustained the appreciation 贬值 depreciation depreciation of 5% contaminant diminution fairness. And yet the new dollar has a currency in all payments in place of the old, with scarcely any attention to the difference between them. The operation of this in depreciating the value of property depending upon past contracts and other properties apparent. Nor can it require argument to prove that a nation ought not to suffer the value of property of citizens to fluctuate with the fluctuations of foreign means or to change with the changes in the regulations of a foreign sovereign. The quantity of gold and silver in nations' coins corresponding with the given sum cannot be made less than heretofore, without disturbing the balance of intrinsic value, and make every acres of land as well as every bush of wheat or less actual worse than in time past. This could not fail to detract the idea of the community and would be apt to breed discontent as well among those who live on the income of their money as among the poorest classes of the people to whom the necessities of life would become dearer. Okay, I think that's all for today. Free coinage. Bimentalism, a system of allowing the unrestricted currency of two metals. 两个货币系统是吧 ？OK， 327啊，320。Okay, I think that's all for today. Let's wrap it up today. Thank you. 政策制定，但是在政策制定完之后的执行过程依然是很繁琐的。这里就讲了美元初始的时候，最开始是按照西班牙 dollar 是吧 dollar 来的，但是在执行过程中发现它的纯度和那个 weight 重量和纯度有一个问题。 而且会随着外国的变化，所以美元必须得标准化，按照美国的标准来，不是外界的波动而波动。这就是国会Congress 宪法 Constitution 赋予国会的权利，就是稳定货币、稳定度量衡。Okay, I think that's all for today. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.